people, some of whom are here today, some of whom are spiritually here today. So they can't read, but you can read them between the pages when you buy the book. Larry's happy to sign it, and we're very glad and happy to know Larry Mayfield. So those of you who know, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Those of you who'd like to know, say yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
It's a bit slow there, a bit slow. What you're about to experience will never happen again. It will happen for you specifically. Please welcome Larry Mayfield.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming. Some of you have come from a long ways. I'd like to recognize all the people that have been involved in this book, some of which are here today. My son Reed, back cover art. Kaylee Moeller, front cover art, is not here today. My son Will Mayfield is not here today. He has an appointment here. Lydia Percy from New York City couldn't be here today. She had to work. Those here today also, Tom from Austin. Each of these submitted a poem. We'll be reading their pieces out of here. Theresa Roberson from Austin. Gil Scott-Heron is coming from Los Angeles to do one of her pieces. And a little bit about the book, Tributaries and Stepping Stones.
Oh, yeah, come on.
Arden Knight is a special friend of mine. Sorry. Tributaries and Stepping Stones. A lot of poems about love, family, a few political pieces, pieces about nature and the environment, because those of you that know me very well know that the environment represents me. I represent the environment. I love the environment. It's poetry, poetic prose, spoken word. And so we'll be doing a few readings and hope you enjoy it. To start off, the preface, a torch of tribute in passing. In ancient Greece, there were torch-carrying runners called heralds of peace that lit the cauldron at Heron's altar. This ceremonial Olympic Games flame signified purity, reason, and peace. Poetry symbolically carries a torch for verbal art that predates written text, whether recited or sung, that as such have survived as chants, songs, and prayers. With the passing of time, the cumulative term spoken word has evolved to capture in the essence and meaning of those who came before, from the Sumerians and the Balkans, from oral traditions of Native America and Africa, accompanied by rhythmic drum beats, from Gregorian chants, from the Chinese text recorded on bamboo slats and silk, to the modern-day beat poets, Kerouac, Ginsberg, Ferlinghetti, to the burgeoning counterculture of Bob Dylan and Gil Scott-Heron, to the likes of lesser knowns who continue to take the stage and stand as examples for poets who have yet to recite orally, of writers who have gone to print, inspirations for the yet unpublished, of ancestors whose flame still lights the way just enough for descendants to peer farther than the eye can see, for creators whose love for writing follows no particular path. May forthcoming runners in turn spread the word as heralds of peace to briefly hold a torch to pass. A friend of mine once commented that he always wondered what goes on in a mailman's mind as he wanders through the neighborhood. Well, I'm gonna tell you. Along the way, it is said that as many days as there are in a whole journey, so many are the men and horses that stand along the road, each horse and man at the interval of a day's journey. And these are stayed neither by snow, nor rain, nor heat, nor darkness for accomplishing their appointed course with all speed. Herodotus, 484 BC, from the Histories. A shuffle of shoes across the workroom tile floor, metal locker doors slamming, a rickety gurney rolling by, and the radio of news blaring background noise. Sounds of hoarseness and friction crossing the parking lot pavement, hoisting a mail satchel full of dreams onto the shoulder, leaving mankind's abrasive horn honks behind, sinking in mind to enjoy the day-to-day meaningful moments in life. One step, heel to toe, onto a carousel of time with 30 spokes in as many directions, a myriad of choices. Those forgotten tidbits worthy to recall, stepping along into the softness of spring's grass, indentions, imprints of a shiny new size 8 shoe. Inhale the freshness of morning dew. A fresh trail barely evident, house to house. Of a scissor tail making its grand entrance, swooping, diving, hovering, and knowing the last frost has just now passed. A dog, black lab, with a stick, pecan, following me all day long, fetch after fetch, returning, sharing my sandwich and water, 5 hours of meandering through the neighborhood, then winding back around to your yard and saying goodbye to a loyal friend with a favorite stick. Music of a passing car humming along to the tune. A bumblebee chasing, running zigzag, barely escaping the sting. Of a tree, the only one I'd ever seen with pine cones that are the shape of a rose, and on so many occasions have ended up in my pocket and then as a present to some child along the way. A kid marvels at an inchworm on the back of his hand, rearing up like a horse, searching for its next inch to take. 2 of us, the kid and I, both enthralled. Once seeing a deer running along the center of the pavement straight at me, both freezing in spot, both wondering what to do. The wind gathering dust into an almost recognizable form and with great force rolling a tumbleweed of maybe 4 feet in diameter with an arm's length and thinking that's the biggest one I have ever seen. Sweat running down my brow, down my back, along my legs, into my eyes, squinting, burning until I have time to wipe away. A beautiful magnolia bloom, picking it at just the right time so as to take you home and put in a vase with water as a present for my wife to enjoy for many days to come. Hearing thunderous sounds similar to bison hoofs, approaching, turning to see a Great Dane face to face and encounter maybe 3 feet away, feeling lucky there was a chain link fence in between. Stepping in dog duty. The biggest live oak in town, stopping under your canopy, looking up and enjoying the enormity of nature. Standing too close to a rain-filled street gutter and realizing too late that the car is coming and that I will be drenched by splashing water. A lightning bolt too close for comfort, a jolt jumping out of my skin. The scent of rain before it arrives. A grasshopper lighting on my chest. Delivering letters to an anxious grandmom with a happy tale to tell the next day of how well her granddaughter is doing in school. A snail's trail silvery on the sidewalk. Hearing half conversations in passing and wondering what the rest of the conversation was. A leaf fell into my lap and I listened for the beautiful sounds of cottonwood leaves. You know how beautiful a cottonwood is in the wind. And looking up, listening for the rest of the sounds of the leaves and looking up and realizing the last leaf had just fallen. Oh, he won't bite, they all say. Stepped in dog do again. Yeah. Damn it. Pinching a leaf of peppermint near the hydrant at the Walker house to put in my mouth to freshen the day. Stopping by to pick up a penny every time. A vow to pick up a piece of trash every day, calculating 30 years times 365, less holidays and vacations. A coneflower from bud to bloom till it shrivels up, thinking I just witnessed your whole life. A dog waiting for me at the fence by the corner, following me along the way as long as it could. Remembering years ago, all of those days, hearing, Daddy home. A once fresh trail, now well worn, like the shoes. The fresh socks, now threadbare. A humpbacked mailman, wrinkled and withered. The path wallowed out, looking back and thinking, that's my trail. And then it was over. Details for each day gone by, mostly unnoticed by others, but not to me. That first step, the last step, thousands sandwiched in between. And when looking back between the beginning and ending steps, a lifetime of memories. She died in 1983. And after she passed on, we got to pick out a remnant to keep, and I found this blue bowl up on the shelf, and I thought that represents her cooking in her small kitchen. So I've written about my grandmother. I hope you enjoy this one. Transcending time, the aromas filtering through the screen door at family gatherings, the men folks shooting the breeze outside while other women helped you cook and set the tables. Me trying to act like a man, sitting on my haunches, a grass twig hanging from my lips like a toothpick, just like my dad. Hearing the oven door open and close and open, the pots and pans clattering, contents being stirred, the frying crackle in a skillet, spooning up various foods. We listened for the sound of iced tea pouring onto glasses, knowing that call was forthcoming, time to eat. Fried chicken, mashed potatoes, white gravy, deviled eggs, green beans, radishes, sliced tomatoes, onions, corn on the cob, turnip greens. Most of the vegetables freshly picked out of your garden, a garden that I helped you plant for many years. The men and kids forming a line to eat, the women standing back, just feeling like the nurturers of it all. The divinity, fudge, assorted cookies, the sweets on the buffet arranged and quite fashionable. The hustle bustle in your kitchen, everyone happy. That's the way I remember it over on Fry Street. I had a dream about you the other night. The same setting, the family gatherings, everyone was there. Uncle PH and Aunt Jean in from Dallas in their fancy Cadillac. Aunt Thelma in a simple cotton dress. Uncle Ira in his khakis. We were all stuck back in time, like it was the 60s. I got to hear Dad's hearty voice again and get a hug with his powerful Popeye-sized arms. Mom, silent but stoic, acknowledged me from a distance, busy cooking. We were all brought together to honor the one who brought life to so many, our family matriarch. Greeting each one, meandering, looking about, finding you stooped, lifting a hot pan of biscuits with a pothole or setting them on the ringer washer near the cook stove. You look at me with those grinning eyes. Oh, it's Larry. That exclamation that said with such enthusiasm and emotion, wiping your hands on your apron, holding my face in your hands, giving a big grandma kiss, just like you always did. And me just wanting to say, Mama, your cinnamon and pecan pie recipes have withstood time. Everyone still calls them Mama Mayfield's recipes. I was just about to ask for the apple pie recipe that had escaped knowledge of its contents when Dad called out from afar, Larry, it's time to go now. The clatter in the kitchen subsides, car doors slamming, everyone hugging, waving their goodbyes. One of your hand-pieced quilts covers and muffles the dream. All the relatives have passed in time. My ears listening to hear your voices, eyes seeking, envisioning, leaving me to wrestle with that wishbone and wish for you all once again. The first guest poet reader has had quite an influence on my life. She is a powerful, powerful creative force and hosts an event here at Malvern. And something that has helped me get over my fear of taking the stage is her comforting ways. If you would please welcome Theresa Roberson.
Yay. It's ironic that he says such kind words because my addition in the book was actually an argument that we had. So just keep in mind that I am a powerful force and sometimes that pushes people out of their comfort zone and may not appreciate it at the time. But I've been running the Austin Writers Roulette, which is a theme-inspired spoken word and storytelling show since 2012. And Larry has participated so many times. And one particular theme, I think was it just last year?
Which one?
Last year that we had this argument?
It was in August of 2017.
Okay, so 2 years has passed. And
I remember it.
I remember it was August because the theme was old school soul food. Something that's almost a tongue twister for me to say, but I try to pick themes to go with the time of the year, and usually August is when kids go back to school, and I really wanted Larry to come and submit a piece about food, because he's one of the few men who, I know every time I go on a vacation, it's like, oh, and the food was, well, how was the place? It was like, oh yeah, the place was all right, but the food, oh, let me tell you. So he and I share a passion of food, and I don't want to give too much away, but this is the argument that caused, I guess.
And Teresa titled this one, Blue Bowl Epistolary. August 28, 2017. Teresa, I would submit a piece for your soul food subject that I wrote about the foods that I can remember from my grandmother's house in the 1960s titled The Blue Bowl, but I recently did it at your Mother's Day event in May.
Larry, your email has brought out the teacher in me. Are you seriously saying that the significant relationship that you had with your grandmother can only be represented by merely one spoken word piece? I think not. I'd more readily accept that you don't have the time to dedicate to writing a new piece or that you have other plans that day than believing you don't have another facet to explore about your connection to food during your formative years. Okay, I'm done with putting you in the corner. Cheers, Teresa.
Whoa. Teresa, the next day, August 29th. The Blue Bowl took a long time to write, several years. The idea didn't feel right. Sadly to say, I've only completed 3 pieces this year as my mind seems distracted by recent personal tragedy. Hopefully the writing process will quicken again. My last email was only meant to let you know I did not have anything fresh prepared, and I had performed that Blue Bowl piece recently. I don't know how to write at a quicker pace. Addressing your email comments that seemed irritated with me, I do not have other plans the day of your event, and in fact, your event is my favorite. I make time for it and travel 157 miles to be there. At this time, I cannot think of a good piece about food that would not be redundant about my other writing. Or possibly, though, of my 94-year-old mother in her last days still trying to teach me how to cook. Yes, her bread pudding recipe, crusty cinnamon on top, the way it settled like a custard-like layer, written in her wobbly handwriting after she had had a stroke. And that old-timey barbecue, she called it, made specifically with Morton's chili blend, which is now hard to find. The way all who ate it would sop up the juice and meat fragments with a piece of bread, every last drop. In our family, we ate wilted greens, collards, turnips, mustard, sprinkled with sizzling grease, causing them to wilt. And what about her tomato preserves? The way she taught me to stand at the cook stove, stirring the huge pot the whole time in readiness of a canning procedure. Don't stop stirring or it will stick to the bottom, she would say. Having cornbread crumpled up in sweet milk was considered a real treat. There's a newfound drive to write about her cooking, where she was a master in putting together a full meal in such a short amount of time, how to cook multiple foods all ready to eat. The chicken fried steak, the mashed potatoes, biscuits, gravy, and how she taught me to brown that southern white gravy and give it a little extra flavor by adding chicken fried crumbs in it. A tradition that I just passed on to my oldest son when he asked if I knew how to make gravy like me, Mom. Washing her snap peas, the aroma of pork roast in the oven, shelling pecans, a dessert pie, the way she used biscuit dough and flour tortillas for dumplings. I never learned how to make fried okra like hers, or how to make those wonderful salmon croquette patties. But the memories and taste of those delicacies will not be forgotten. Your email, I could take your hard kick in the butt and stinging words and salt, but instead will thank you for such unkind words that have within them motivation. Though I am still not comfortable sharing a rushed piece. The whole piece is my submission. Creatively, it would be enhanced by your email preceding it.
Where am I? Okay, so this is August 29th, 2017. Larry, I'd be more than happy to read my email response to your email if you feel comfortable sharing this exchange for the Writer's Roulette audience in a sort of modern-day epistolary performance. Let me know if you'd like to do this. By the way, it takes me years to write a book as well, but occasionally gathering together with other creatives often helps! Exclamation point. Cheers, Teresa.
Okay, thank you. poet is Thom, who it has also been quite an influence on me, helping realize that the value of poetry. If I had called anybody Mr. Poetry, it would be Thom. If you would please welcome Thom.
To the 50 souls in Christchurch and to every soul here today. Okay. It's on page 127 if you have a book. How to live in this world. So she lives in Barcelona, not far from La Rambla, and she's going to a festival of flowers. So she gathers more and walks towards, while others are all running away. She sees a dead body, gets it. She immediately gathers more flowers and free hug signs and stands near the center of the massacre, hands out flowers and holding hugs. Others join her, Muslim women. The killer was Muslim. Their love and tears are on Spanish television that night. She is on every Spanish station that very night, expressing her love for all people, Muslim, Christian, atheists. The ones who stood with her are interviewed. She is interviewed. They want to know this, how to turn their fear into bravery, love, smiles, free hugs, and flowers. That's how to live in this world, by loving this world, and here's how to leave it, the joy of leaving. As in your life, bursting forth from cage of old thoughts which no longer serve you, old clothes which no longer fit you, old lives which no longer answer to your call. You are not the you I started talking to, and I am not the person that I was before speaking this. Yet we both retain the mysteries we explain when talking of where we all came from and who we really are. Attachment always provisional. Time snaps chains, free as caterpillar, now butterfly, even temporarily.
Our next poet has influenced me more than anybody. Generous with his time. Edited my first book hours and hours for 5 years. Taught me the value of word choice. If you would please welcome Arden Knight.
Larry, you finally gave me credit for being your editor of your first 2 books, because normally what you do is you say, I'm your editing mentor, and you are your own editor. But we worked very closely, as you said, for many, many years. My selection, which is in Tributaries and Stepping Stones, you know, look at the back cover of this, where it's got poetry and poetic prose, and spoken word, word flow for dreamers. This book really is a lot of variety in it. And my particular choice, Larry said, you know, will you put one of your poems here? And it's not like anything else. And I need to apologize for it, by the way. I'm not going to try to explain the paradigm, or I'm not going to try to explain the paradoxes. I'll leave that with you folks to try to figure out what's going on here. But it just happens to be entitled Apologies. Here we sit inside the pool, saturated throughout the skin, bent on a plunging and a sinking right in. There's one hand waving high, searching for the silver sky, waiting to die with a thorn in each eye. Surrounded by lessons in history, still something of a mystery. But why think about a man's misery when you haven't swallowed it yet? Apollo, he spoke to me about the dawn of trampled light, suddenly revealed in a melted straw concealed. Cheerio eye drops in a watery crust, ketchup falling too thick to regulate the trust. Persevere the drowning downtrodden, whose stand is not to fight. Caught on the unarmed road of flight, persevere the heavy-laden roving gambler, whose chance is all used up. Persevere the hunchback host, serving the jeweled table, who graciously fills the empty, bottomless cup. Keep a light burning in the ill-lit underground. Cast forth the crown of penance, come a-crawling. Dream inside a dream, for busted chains withdrawing. Covering the used and abused, misfortunate ones a-calling. Trying to shovel the glimpse into the eclipse of what blowing the penny whistle means. As a dump truck overload spikes a plunger to the heart, corkscrews right through to the deepest, darkest part. Well, you got your opinion, and I got mine. And nothing's going to change this rhyme in time. For right and wrong is just a sickness of the mind. But is that right? Or is that wrong? Oh well, that's altogether a different question.
Arden used to try to coach me a little bit in my speaking abilities, but I just can't do that. Our next poet has become a good friend of mine. She is dynamic on stage. And the daughter of a person that was one of the early on people that is well known for spoken word. Gil Scott-Heron from Los Angeles, California. If you would please welcome Gil Scott-Heron.
I'm so happy to be here. I don't even know what to say. I'm just, yeah. Larry is just, he's precious, and I'm so glad that, you know, he's one of the few blessings that came out of my father passing away. Almost like a surrogate in some ways, but also just like the homie in other ways. So, in light of that, this is called La Amiga por Ti, which is Spanish for the friend for you. If you like people whose personalities are sweet, but just a little bit spicy, mostly classy, but privately can be just a little bit nasty, then I might be the homie for you. If you like your friends inquisitive and not afraid to learn, who knows that trust and respect are not given but earned, then I might be the homie for you. If you like the type of person who questions authority, not disrespectfully, but letting authoritarians know that their word alone will not be accepted blindly, then I might be the friend for you. If you like liberals who shake up the status quo, a Christian of Buddhist parents who's been known to sometimes chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, then I might be the homie for you. If you like writers who work to inspire others to shine their light and fight the powers that be, who stand up for justice and pushes for equality, who's mostly refined with a small side of crazy, then I just might be the friend for you. If you are looking for a person who speaks 3 dialects, specifically English, Bad English, and Spanglish, then it just might be Podría ser la amiga por ti. If you have an abuelita who does not hate negritas, parents who don't mind you crossing the color line, then I might be the homie for you. Porque sí, yo soy una negra. Yes, I am black. Pero no soy una negra perezosa. I'm not a lazy black. Soy flaquita, sí, skinny. Chulita, maybe, pretty. But more importantly, I have aspirations and dreams, and I know I gotta work if I want to see them become a reality. So if you like people who ain't afraid to put in a little elbow grease and get their hands dirty, then I might be the homie for you. I am currently accepting applications of all races. All serious applicants will be given equally serious consideration. You will not be turned away for any pre-existing condition, age, race, or physical disability. This is an equal employment opportunity. I'm a woman who's on a mission. I'm looking to grow a grassroots rainbow coalition. Okay, I can sometimes be hard to reach because we Pisces, we can be a little spacey. But once you reach me, I will do anything I can to help you when the chips are down. When you are sinking in a sea of disappointment, I come through with a life preserver and a way to help you turn things around. I'll be that friend who will bring you a pizza with your favorite topping. And if you have an allergy, I'll even find the kind that's gluten-free. If you're vegan, I'll bring you a vegetable tray with a side of hummus and remind you that you are strong enough and talented enough to overcome your troubles. I'll be there for you to vent to or celebrate and congratulate you on your achievements too. So if you are looking to crush milestones and build some happy memories, then I just might be la amiga por ti. Thank you.
It's called this Happy St. Patrick's Day 2019. As a child who attended public school, I always knew I had to wear something green on March 17th, whether I was Irish or not, rather than run the risk of being pinched. Even as an adult, I love not just wearing green on St. Patrick's Day, but dressing up for an occasion despite not having an actual character in mind. Since Halloween is my favorite holiday, why dress boringly every day of the year? And then, out of nowhere, while driving, Willie Nelson's On the Road Again reminds me of something green. Picture this, a gas-guzzling, medium green, town and country station wagon with the fake wood paneling on the sides. Bare thighs sticking to the fake green leather in the back middle seat between my two older sisters, with the smell of cold fried chicken circulated by the AC. We took family car vacations in the 70s and 80s. The longest ones were during the dead heat of summer from Little Rock, Arkansas to Cascade and Hampton, Virginia, to visit both sides of the family. I don't remember ever staying in a hotel en route to visit the relatives. We minimized having to stop for food because Mom always fried up a lot of chicken legs for us to eat along with chips and soda, which was a treat because we normally drank Kool-Aid or sweet tea with dinner, and bottled water wasn't yet a thing. Anyway, if we got hungry or thirsty, all we had to do was reach or crawl over the back seat to get something to eat or drink because wearing seat belts wasn't a big deal either. Even though Willie Nelson's hit song came out in 1980, the year after my family had moved from Arkansas to North Carolina, it so perfectly captures those long cross-country family vacations. In reality, my mother couldn't have started singing On the Road Again during those trips. Yet, I clearly remember her singing that song during the start of subsequent trips in the Green Machine. And speaking of music, how did we not end up killing one another with just one radio and me for entertainment? This reminds me of one short-lived game that I invented where I was the radio and all my sisters had to do was change the channel and I'd sing a different song. One of my sisters tapped me on the nose, told me that was the off button, and wouldn't turn me back on. Neither would my other sister. I was mad as hell. I complained to my mother, who I could clearly see was laughing even though she was facing forward and wasn't making a sound. When Mom regained her composure, she turned around and suggested that I just be quiet for a while. As a child, the only times I was quiet for a while was during church, half the time at school, and when I was asleep. As a matter of fact, if I'd grown up in the 90s, I would have been given Ritalin. Instead, my elementary school day consisted of not one, but 2 outdoor recesses. The neighborhoods where I lived were so safe I could play outside unsupervised with my friends over a large area. My mom used to joke that if anyone ever kidnapped me, they'd bring me back. She also claimed that she'd only hear my voice out of all the other kids playing. Yet, if I was in the house and awake but she couldn't hear me, then she knew I was up to something. So, there was never a snowball's chance in hell I was going to be quiet while confined in a station wagon and awake. No climbing trees, no playing on monkey bars, no bike riding, and no running around and screaming and laughing out loud. Just sitting between my sisters for 16 hours who didn't even know the proper way to play radio. Over the years, newer cars replaced the green machine, and yet it still lingered. My father had been a mechanic in the Air Force and especially loved working on cars. He was such a car enthusiast that he was always ready to buy a new car if it wasn't for my mother pumping the brakes on the idea. When I was a senior in high school, I'd driven the green machine over to a friend's house party. Even back then, I didn't give a damn about a car being a status symbol, just a way to get from point A to point B. However, the old station wagon with its weathered, fake wood paneling had developed a nervous tick. At random times, the horn honked, all by itself. I made that entire 15-minute drive to my friend's house and back, waving at people to play it off. Most people waved back. When I returned home and complained to my father about the honking, he responded matter-of-factly, "Oh yeah, you have to pull up on the steering wheel when you drive it." The last memorable time I spent with the green machine, I was a college student. Typically, I'd come home with a large green army bag of dirty clothes to be washed and ended my visit with a trip to the commissary with my father to stock up on groceries. During this particular trip, Dad had locked the keys in the car. We used a payphone to call Mom to rescue us. While we sat on top of the back of the station wagon waiting, Dad looked over the grocery bill. I'd zoned out until he shouted, "Tampons? Girl, those things are expensive. No wonder this bill is so high." In retrospect, I'm amazed that that was when Dad had learned about the high price of menstruating. After all, I was the youngest of 3 daughters, and he'd been married for nearly 30 years by that point. But who am I to judge? That was the moment I'd learned that Dad was the bring home the bacon and give the money to your wife kind of husband. And these days, that's the only green I'm usually thinking of. Thank you.
Also, Teresa has a wonderful book called Tribe of One. Amazon?
Yes.
On Amazon. I read it, 480 pages in 2 days. It's very captivating. Arden Knight.
Larry briefly alluded to this once before, that he and I worked together on a book for about 5 years. Before we worked for Tributaries and Stepping Stones for about 2 years. So you're getting there, Larry. And you're coming on. But this particular book, a brilliant title, by the way, in my opinion, A Whisper's Shadow Apart. Whoa!
Yes.
And there's quite a bit of brilliance inside this book as well. It has a music CD, 16 songs on it, lyrics by the songwriter poet Larry Mayfield. And I don't know if I can say this in Austin, so I'll say it kind of softly. Recorded by professional musicians in Nashville. But oh boy. In any case, once again, Larry asked me to do a one piece. And this was my one contribution to A Whisper Shadow Apart. It too is probably like my first selection, a little bit on the abstract side, and you know, he'd come down and he said, "What's much ado about nothing," but it was meaningful at the time that I wrote it. Ashes of Diamonds is the title. Ashes of diamonds running through my head, dressed up in a silky shadow's destiny, mountains of mystery carrying my heart Down the lane, a long, long ways. Past the light post of darkest night. Past the crystal wall too high to climb. Past the borrowed gates of broken sidewalks a beckoning. Past the front row, easy ho, of crowned roses a reckoning. Down the highway of copper overlay. Past the topical maids with a southern cross to bear. Past the loud parade of uprooted, tousled hair. Past the tambourine sounds of lonely heartstrings. Past the march of street lamps backwards blinking. Down the kite drift of the foggy ruins of time. Woman in the window behind the blind glare. Old man watching his monkey dance. Dignity blown away by a dusty wind. Footprints encircle the shallow sand. Minstrel man tunes a ballad bard. Take away the loosely standing domino. Take away the frayed circle of the yo-yo. Take away the missing face of the statuette frozen. Adieu, adieu. Tunnel vision blocks the view. Ashes of diamonds running through my head. Not through yet, because that was, I wanted to come back to Tributaries and Stepping Stones for a moment. And wanted to mention something here that's connected to the front cover. Artwork done by the granddaughter. And also, Larry, you never mentioned this, and I just thought that my goodness, where did this quote from that's on your front cover? It's not that poetry is meant to be read, but that poetry is meant to be read aloud.
That's your quote.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I had a little thing here. I'll say the granddaughter. This back. My granddaughter's. The granddaughter's at the University of North Texas. She graduated from high school last year. I wrote a poem for her back in 2006. It's not abstract. It was meant as a children's poem. Really, it was kind of meant as a children's song when I wrote it. And I never gave this poem to the girl until she graduated from high school. I kind of meant to through the years. I had it in my little poetry journal, keeping it, hanging on to it. I remember when she was 6 years old, and I went into, granddaughter Kaylee is her name. I went into her bedroom, and there were drawings all over the place. I mean, golly, this girl could draw in the color that she's put to it. And so I asked her what her favorite color was, and she said purple. So I'll come back to that in a moment. But I also wanted to mention before I do this young at heart poetry song meant for someone like Marlo, who's here, daughter of a former student of mine. She's 9 years old. And meant for another student of mine who's here, Chewy. Got 3 boys. And so take it into consideration that this one was not done for unless you too are young at heart. Entitled Only in My Heart. Have you ever seen a purple moon? Have you ever seen a purple moon? Have you ever seen a puddle turn to gold? Have you ever seen a puddle turn to gold? Only in my heart. Only in my heart. I hope to see one someday. Have you ever heard a butterfly sing? Have you ever heard a butterfly sing? Have you ever heard a fading rainbow sigh? Have you ever heard a fading rainbow sigh? Only in my heart. Only in my heart. I hope to hear one someday. Have you ever felt a flower grow? Have you ever felt a flower grow? Have you ever felt a pebble dance? Have you ever felt a pebble dance? Only in my heart. Only in my heart. I hope to feel one someday. Have you ever been one to imagine that? Have you ever been one to imagine that? Have you ever been one to show the way? Have you ever been one to show the way? Only in my heart. Only in my heart. I hope to be one someday.
Welcome, Gil Scott-Heron.
Yay!
Yeah, this piece almost made the book, but then it got switched for La Amiga por Ti. This one is called My Pen. My pen got swag. My pen be feisty. My pen is both sweet and spicy. My pen be Coochie Chagalia. My pen be self-determined in its own destiny in different languages like Swahili. My pen got Nia, Kumba, and Imani. Purpose, creativity, and faith. My pen be Black History Month every single day. My pen only writes in black ink. My pen helps me to increase, release, and unleash my black girl magic. I make jaws drop without surgical enhancement. So when the mic drops, yo, it ain't no accident. My pen is beyond blacknificent. My pen is blacktastic. My pen is part Dr. King and part Black Panther. My pen be like hashtag Wakanda forever. My pen be pimping and ripping blank pages with its talons like it's T'Challa. My pen spits on the alt-right and decolonizes us. Sometimes my pen be sci-fi fly. Its superpower is reminding those who still not woke that the revolution will not be televised. My pen creates like it's made of vibranium, makes my lyrics Teflon tough like titanium, makes my words radioactive like uranium. One day my pen and I will be filling up stadiums. My pen makes me feel blessed to be an artist. My pen be the hardest, because my pen is part Gil Scott-Heron and part Bob Marley. My pen be dancing like it's Janet Jackson and ghostwriting for Cardi B. My pen be like, how you doing? Like it's windy. But don't worry about the size of my pen, it's what I do with it that matters. My pen has a tattooed tear for every glass ceiling that it has shattered. My pen is about that life. My pen is a gangster activist and advocate. Don't get it twisted. My pen is ruthless but never reckless. My pen is a bad mother. Shut your mouth. My pen is country, ghetto, and unapologetically educated. My pen has always been woke and is determined to stay elevated. My pen be like an HBIC with an AA, BA, MBA, and PhD in STFU from an HBCU, sucker. I'll say it again. My pen be like an HBIC with an AA, BA, MBA, and PhD in STFU from an HBCU, sucker. And it minored in giving out L's. But my pen is too blessed to be bitter or petty. My pen is too busy manifesting its destiny. My pen be my alter ego. My pen be a griot. My pen is my shiro. My pen is my platform, and I stand on it proudly and pay homage to the pioneering ancestors who came before we, the ones who had to work the chitlin circuit, the ones who had to use the back door when playing at white venues. Yeah, my pen remembers that too. Those were my pen's people. But my pen got love for those who recognize that we are all equal. Sometimes my pen thinks that it's Russell Simmons, y'all. My pen be like, that's my time. Thank you for coming. God bless you. And good night.
Yeah, we love it.
As I said, I love the environment. This came from a dream about Gil Scott-Heron, whose words and music helped bend and shape my awareness for environmental and social values. No More Dinosaurs is my tribute to Gil and his song, Winter in America. Gil, can you help me out with this one? I handed him a few notes about the environment scribbled on a piece of paper. Yeah, man, let's see what you got. Oh, you're writing about a bunch of dinosaurs. The gleam in his eyes intensified. He scanned a few words, shifted his position at the electric piano, and started kind of humming and picking out a few notes with his fingers finding the groove on the black and white keys. Humming evolved into spoken words, dancing with rhythm across the melodic notes. He said, okay, now you sing this part, talking about climate change. And keep singing that while I talk the words. Talking about climate change, talking about environmental sustainability and evolution issues, and a bunch of modern day don't want to be dinosaurs. From industrial smokestack billows rising up to the sky to every man, woman, and child with vehicles up and down the roads, exhausting puffs of polluting fumes into our lungs, coughing, causing cancer, and I'm choking on a main course of carbon dioxide at an unhealthy level of 405 parts per million. That's our air, man. We gotta breathe that crap. It's that greenhouse effect gone wild. Clouds of smog, trapping gases of fossil fuel, pollution, harboring heat, ozone layer depletion, and a compromised atmosphere. Amazon forest of vast oxygen-producing plants, treetops clear-cut to the ground, and crops sprayed with Monsanto glyphosates, dangerous chemicals absorbing into our foods, into our bodies, photosynthesis on the decline, and cancer rising. Oil spills, chemical runoff, and acid rain into our rivers, into our lakes, into our oceans, leaching through the substrates into our well water. And we gotta drink this shit? Heat and more heat, 17 out of the last 18 years, the hottest on record, ice caps and glaciers melting, seas rising, ocean dying. Man, it's hot as hell and I'm burning up. Man suffering from overpopulation syndrome, not enough supply of unadulterated food to meet the demand of the expand of the human race. What we got here is a bunch of overpopulation of bought-off corrupt politicians doing nothing. Lizards and elephants, eagles and herons, polar bears and buffalo, ladybugs and honeybees, and what has happened to all the trees. Dinosaurs, they're all becoming dinosaurs right along with you and me. Evolution no more, mass extinction going down. Dinosaurs my ass. Let's do something right now. Pick up a sign that say, save the earth or something, and keep singing, talking about climate change. So all those climate change deniers will take notice. Have an extra sign to stick in their perfectly manicured, over-chemicalized lawns to remind them what survival and responsible, intelligent thinking is about. And keep singing like a rain dance song. Sing in the shower, in the streets, like a worldwide concert. 7 billion people singing, and teach those little babies to sing too. No more dinosaurs, he sang, alternating that verse with talking about climate change, harmonizing with me, and then concluding the song in his melismatic vocal style, talking about climate change. Gil handed my notes back, slapped me on the back, smiling. There had been only a few words scribbled on the paper initially, but now it was full of ideas.
Yeah.
Time is a trail worn by paws and claws, footpads along the footpaths, leading the way full of frisk, a distance of maybe 30, 40 feet. Halting, sudden and stiff, a tilt of head to one side, tongue hanging out your mouth, eyes happy and expressive with expectations of the pack traveling tightly bound, then trudging ahead again. Alert to variables of scent, one front leg held up, a sniff of snout to a shift of wind, and an ear of perk up to the sounds of curious nature. Time is a tail, straight and rigid, eyeing the landscape for a rabbit to chase. An instinctive scamper across the ravine through the grass sea of blue stem, reaching toward the blue sky, brushing like a broom as it whisks through the wind as you gust through the waving grass. Listening for your direction of bark, calling out, kitty, kitty coyote. Oh, there you are. Leading us to a spring-fed creek, a tributary, trickling through and around stepping stones, spilling over a limestone ledge, forming a welcome coulee, a puddle of water pooling, leaping in to dog paddle and lap up a refresh of drink, Time is a tale to tell. Along a trail trekking together, searching for a shade on a dog day afternoon. Let's go, my loyal companion, for an adventure walking along a path. Time is a trail put to test, lagging behind by day's end. And when it's time to rest, lying by my side, tired, dog-tired, dreaming of chasing rabbits, trying to bark, a warble escapes your lips, trying to give chase, your legs twitch, dreaming of chasing rabbits. Okay. The last one, this is the last one. I was a caregiver for my mother for 8.5 years. It took a lot out of me, but I wouldn't have it any other way. This is a hard one for me to read, so forgive me on this one. The Tao of Mortality. Is it time? How close is it? Maybe now or when? To etch my name into obituary concise, when laid to rest, to be engraved into marble tombstone immortal, encompassing a dated span of life, to entrench embodiment, transforming, eventually crumbling to ashes. A last rite attendance, face recognition, recalling mutual story exchange, accompanied by sad-eyed laughter, thinking back of a last conversation, knowing it would not that it would be about borrowed time. Should I make out a last will and testament to put my life in order when sensing finality? Is it close enough to have made coffee, percolating aroma adrift? And if so, should I bother to put the lid on the Folgers can? Watching the grounds of sediment entranced, settle to the bottom of the cup of coffee cold. Across time, spring has come and gone, surrounded by cobwebs and dust, in a closet of olden hand-stitched quilts made from yesteryear's shirts and skirts, and cardboard boxes stuck in nooks and crannies everywhere with bits and pieces of love tucked away in them. And draped across the couch worn, a tattered sweater, threadbare, awaits a frigid edge of a cold spell. Peering through a cloudy windowpane of unwashed film, the neglect of shrubs overgrown hovers the porch eave. The house paint flakes away, and a weathered leaf rake still leans against the old oak tree, while nature asks, has the hummingbird flown? Is it winter here yet? Is it close enough to clean house today, the clutter, the unkempt? Take out the trash, sweep the floor, to fold clothes or wash dishes, menial chores just in case company drops by, or to surrender complacency and to just let go. Will our eyes meet and know it is goodbye? With those crosswords puzzle, will those crosswords puzzle or keep my mind sharpened so that a penciled memory will not erase before my body gives out? Not to die, but to pass on a much softer blow in how the wind shifts direction and swirls, a wisp gently passing, leaving a sense of closeness brushing against my chilled skin. Time wrinkled and unraveling aged weakness of the muscles. Would a fall break my hip, my leg, my arm, leaving me weakened and vulnerable, no matter how careful I am? Do decades become years, narrowing to days, minutes ticking by on a clock that cannot rewind? Will you, my child, see after my belongings, be a steward to consider my wishes, holding my hand before and after death's deep sleep, making sure everything is just so-so? Will you wake at night, suddenly startled, wondering, is it time? Can a yardstick not only measure distance, but also time, like an inchworm journey along a wayward path of acceptance? When will almost become now? And exposed to the elements, a natural progression, what no amount of preparation can prevent. And when that inner being goes through soulful transformation as our thoughts blend into one, who will ask, did I unplug the iron? Turn off the lights, lock the door, and do everything possible for you forevermore. And then let comfort be content with life's insistence. It is time. Thank all of you for coming. Books will be available back here, and I really appreciate each and every one of you for showing up today. It really means a lot to me.